Welcome back to the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. Thank you all for joining me once again. And here with me, I have someone who I have had, what's it been, like 3 times on the show
Yeah,
before?
that sounds right. Yeah.
But it has been a while. It's been so long that I don't even know when the last time was. It's got to be year, maybe 2 years.
I think
Almost,
yeah.
because I was
It,
still living in my old apartment. I have moved since, and I've been living here for about a year and a half now. So it's gotta be like something like 2 years. So yeah, Mr. Ethan Indigo is back on the show. Everyone, round of applause. So how you been doing, man?
it's great to be with you, Stein. I really appreciate talking with you and everything that you do. And I appreciate you personally. So thank you. I've been, writing a little bit. I've been working with my job that just ended quite a lot, which has been kind of preventing me from being as productive with my literary pursuits as I would like to be. But I'm going to get more focused on writing. I've definitely written more than a few articles, of course, in the last couple of years, but
Mhm.
not another book necessarily. And pretty easy to find Ethan Indigo Smith online if anyone wants to check it out. And I've been working with Nick at Cult Rejects a lot, meeting some neat people and learning a lot of cool stuff, being on the panel there and listening to people present things. It's been fun. And yeah, just been working a lot. I'm ready for a new kind of horizons, so to speak, as things progress here in the next couple of months.
Oh yeah,
Be
man.
focused more on doing some writing and doing some more creative stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's such a good outlet, especially if you've been working a lot. Like you start to, or at least I can pretty much only speak for myself, but you really start to miss it, like you miss writing, you miss, the panels, you just miss talking with the people, if you will. So new book, what's this one
Well, I
gonna be
don't have
about?
a particular idea in mind. I have a couple of fiction projects that I will probably put off for a while longer, but nothing particular. In fact, I just know that as things progress here, I'll have more focus on at least putting together the articles that I've been wanting to and so on, and maybe finding a new book idea.
Awesome.
But I finished the fourth initiation not too long ago, and yeah, that's I think got some really interesting stuff. And we've discussed that before.
Yeah.
And still, the main book that is the most kind of well read is the Geometry of Energy, where I explore meditation and subtle energy in terms of the four dimensions of geometry: points, lines, planes, and solids or volume. And yeah, that one seems to be the one that goes farthest. And I have a couple ideas even I still am working on related to that. I'm always kind of finding new windows into that kind of geometry of energy.
Yeah. So just a whole bunch of unfinished projects and projects that
Yes.
you want to start. I know what it's like, man. I know what it's like. But finally finished the fourth initiate. How long have you been working on that one? Because
Well, I like to joke whenever someone asks me how long it took me to write a book. I say that the age that I am when I published it, because it's like
well,
kind of the culmination of life experience and life learning, grammar, writing, and the idea itself, and so on and so forth. So, of course, that's a joke, but a lot of it, I also wrote The Matrix of Four, which is more a
yeah,
philosophical look at the four aspect basis of subject and object. And the fourth initiation, I kind of had been building up a lot of observations pertaining to not necessarily observations and philosophical tools, but specifically self-development and initiation processes internally without a guru, so to speak. So it kind of was a study that was ongoing for a decade or so. But when it finally came together, it was not too long. a process.
Wow. Okay. A whole decade. Damn. So from
Yeah,
the
well,
like
it's
from the conception of the idea to the finishing of the book, let's say.
yeah, like I said, it kind of is almost encapsulates two books, the idea. So that's why I mean, the Matrix of Four, it's been accused of being highly esoteric, but the fourth initiation is even more so. So some of these ideas I was considering for quite a while, but did not find the connections to really bring it into a cohesive idea within itself with these different aspects coming together. So it's really interesting. In fact, the introductions are free on Amazon, quite lengthy introduction. So there's quite a bit that people can read for free if they're interested.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check it out. I'm always interested in your work being accused of being highly esoteric. I mean, yeah, it's it's about what you would expect with the kind of topics that you write about and the kind of people that you associate yourself with. Of course, it's going to be highly esoteric.
Yeah, one of the main aspects of it that is partly, in one way or another, a fundamental life lesson that is presented commonly in different indigenous groups or local groups from India to the Americas. And it's that there are four stages of life. And actually, the Christ story reflects this. And I think one of many reasons that it taps into this conscious that we may not be aware of, but we have such an affinity to the story is because it really uses this fourfold dynamic that is so common and so missed when we don't get it, because the resurrection is the fourth aspect. And that's the
Yeah.
goods, the return, and this can be, considered as far as even someone coming back from a traveling rather than, dying and resurrecting, or going through hell and getting through it and coming back out of it. You're resurrected anew. Even a workout program, you could consider it something like this. But there is essentially birth, life, death, and resurrection. And that is the Jesus story. And those are four really broad labels. But again, that's just one of
Yeah.
many fourfold concepts that are practical and fundamental and are certainly arguable. You could put things in different terms, but also we see it as a basis for these esoteric lessons as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's the four primary stages of the alchemical magnum opus.
Right.
Of course,
There you go.
Negredo, Albedo, Citrinitas, and Rubedo,
Yes.
which, I mean, the story of Christ is pretty much that, as well as there are many stories, really. Just the hero's journey is kind of also, has that
I think
alchemical magnum
most
opus
heroes'
weaving
journeys
woven in.
absolutely have that. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but just building on what
No,
you're
no,
saying,
no.
Stein, that the hero story totally has what we might interpret as this defeat of the hero before he is resurrected in victory, right? It's
Yeah.
very, very common theme.
I
It's
mean,
dope.
Jesus, like now that I think of it, there also kind of goes back to what I've been talking about with Nick from Called Rejects. I mean, that was a while ago. Like, even if I think about pro wrestling, the whole storytelling on the mat, there are four stages. It's the entrance, then
Very
the
interesting.
basic chain wrestling, high spots,
The guy
well,
basically
four
loses.
four before the end. Like after the high spots, like it's the false kick out, and then it's the end. So after the fourth one,
Right.
it's the absolute end. But it's the first four that are leading up to it. And you
That's
could
right.
even take the chain wrestling out of it. So it's the entrance, the wrestling, false kickouts, the false endings.
Right.
Let's
The
say,
false law.
because
The hero
yeah,
almost loses, but
yeah, but like in the nick of time, he still gets. Yeah, I mean that's
and
like
that's
wrestling is.
the juice. That's the juice that
Yeah,
humans love. And of course we love that. No, no like big secret about that. We love that. I mean, even in regards to this is silly in the United States anyway. The attachment to the Christmas story is the Santa Claus story, and the attachment to the Santa Claus story is the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, who is really the reject who becomes the leader. Right? He comes
Fuck
into
yeah.
yeah, it's like every kid's favorite character of Christmas at one stage or another is Rudolph because they experience being exiled from the bigger deer and they know they have the light within them, and they want to be part of the crew, not only lead it and be the hero.
It's the underdog story.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird.
Just, I never actually thought about it that way.
Yeah,
It's so funny. Like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is the underdog story. It's
yeah,
also kind of a hero's journey because, his nose is so bright. He can lead the way. It's his special gifts that enables him. And yeah, especially as a kid, you want to sit at the grown people table because that's
yeah.
where all the good stuff is and all the good stuff happens. And like, why am I sitting
And
at the kids' table? I'm a big boy.
And it's really neat in the sense that the weakness or the attribute that he was mocked for is actually the thing that he's most prized for, right? Like
Yeah.
that really makes him most valuable.
Yeah, I think just basically every kid ever can relate to that. Like, especially the ones who got kind of picked on or bullied at school.
Yeah. And it may have just been like a moment, but they just remember that taste of like, oh yeah, I don't like that. You know?
Yeah, and then you know, a lot of kids. I mean, it's a bit of a stereotypical story as well, but it happens. That the ones getting picked on or the ones getting bullied like grow up to be these like highly successful people, and their bullies are, I don't know. They're now like cleaning the school, for example. For
Right.
example, while they become the janitors or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, also, I mean, that takes me back. I don't know why, but that takes me back to Al Bundy, Married with Children. Kind of, he was the school's athletic hero, and now he's just this
No, he totally had that.
loser shoe salesman. Also, a family of four, coincidentally.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
completion.
yeah. Storytelling is fascinating. Can be found in just about everything, and everyone can relate to it.
I shared a really funny meme the other day about Al Bundy, and it had him sitting on his couch, and it said something to it had him on his couch and a picture of his house, and it said something to the effect of, this is Al Bundy was supposed to portray a fat
Yeah,
loser, and yet he had like a big house and he wasn't even that fat, and he was doing all right compared to right now. Like it's hard to get a house.
if he can. Yeah, like if you think about it, they had like at
Yeah, they
least
were killing it.
three bedrooms, a
Right.
separate
How
garage,
did you do it? Yeah.
somehow money to turn that garage into a like a man cave kind of
Right.
thing, full kitchen, full living room, basement, on a
This
shoe
shows you
salesman's
how
salary?
Right. It shows you how, at least in the cliched or typified notion, how much more affordable houses were in the US and likely the Western world and world at large back then, before these investment companies started seeing real estate as slightly better investment in return over the long term than gold. And as soon as that happened, then it started, this multiplier thing going on. And then
Yeah.
there's all kinds of effects on the market that make it go up more or down even. But that I think is the big factor.
Yeah. Like makes you wonder, did we ever like really recover from the 2008 crash? Did we ever really
Right.
change something, or Have they just gone better at, you know, at hiding it, or not even hiding it, like at selling the idea,
Yeah, right.
perhaps? Because nobody's
Getting
hiding anything anymore.
right. It's all very much in the open. And I think, yeah, it's interesting. They maybe found just a new way, new different ways to tap in and get a piece of whatever real estate transaction is going on. We'll see though. I feel like there's going to be some shifts in the near future as the
Yeah,
Trump
I mean,
keeps.
yeah, if you look at the state of the States, and even the UK, I think just the Western world in general, like some sort of a civil war, whether it starts in the US or in the UK first. I think either one of them is likely to kick off first, but it's gonna happen. Some sort of a big scale revolt is gonna happen. And I had a conversation with someone fairly recently. I don't know where exactly it was again. I don't believe it was on the show, but that um that is also why the elites, the so-called elites at least, have only planned till 2030 or like perhaps 2040, because they know that before that time shit is gonna just kick off, and that's why they've been, building those underground bunkers and all of that. I mean, you don't do that just to whitewash dirty money, even though, private islands, underground bunkers it's a really good way to, launder a lot of dirty cash, or just, launder a lot of cash in general, so that you don't
Sure.
have to pay taxes on it. But like, you don't buy those things, you don't build those things if you don't plan on using it. They have the
There is
money for these giant multi-dozen million mansions, villas, whatever, above ground. Why start building underground if you don't somehow know that something is coming that is going to require you to literally flee underground?
yeah, I mean, frightening. The world is an unstable place, and yet we've had a very smooth couple of centuries as far as natural disasters go, if we even think about all the ones that we may have experienced. There is this meme that's a commonly repeated message, and it'll have various pictures, but the notion is nothing ever happens. And I feel like people do think that, and it often might feel that way. But I think things happen all at once. Like things happen in cascading kind of concentricity rather than
Yeah.
over long periods. I don't know how intuition is or psychic phenomenon, but I am very interested in remote viewing. And
Mm,
those guys, the elder folks that practice it all seem like really credible people. Although it could be intermingled with lies, it could be entirely a lie. But I feel like there is something to the remote viewing system in
yeah.
general, and something to the ideas that they have remote viewed. And actually, one of the things that they like to do is have, I forget what the term is, sorry, but a way of verifying their findings at a later time, right? So they'll say that X is in within the circle, and if there's no way to see if X is in the circle in Russia or wherever, they just don't
Mm,
like looking it up. It's not useful. But if they can find out if indeed X is in the circle, then they get verification that there was at least there's something going on
yeah.
that is useful and truthful. So that with all that preamble, there are several remote viewers that have pointed out to serious problems going that the world will face between now and 2050. And again,
Like
even in the even in the remote viewing of different time periods, they, or at least one of these guys was talking about how they don't like to go too far because it's not verifiable. And
Mm.
also, things can get quite confusing. And some of the remote viewing things that they did in relation to time were in that is looking at the future. There were the ideas that terrorism would be a problem and that there would not be nuclear war. Who knows? Again, I don't know if this is going to be
Mm.
the truth, but the remote viewers have consistently found that there's going to be some kind of disaster between now and 2050. Maybe even, as you point out, between now and 2030 or something. There could be things going
Yeah.
on. But I thought it was a really interesting look at the potentials of the world, and much to the chagrin of many who would be in denial, that there was also the prediction that the sea levels would have dramatically risen and that there would be a lot of coastal disasters. And that would be a big reason for why so many people would be impacted, of course.
I mean, they've been predicting that for the last
Yeah.
50 years, 40, 50 years. I live in a quite a coastal town. Like the nearest beach is what, like a 10 minutes drive from here. Uh, yeah, the dunes also something like that. Um, my town still exists. If anything, it's been expanding over the last few years. A lot of new neighborhoods built, and I don't think the city would be approving those permits if indeed the town that I currently live in, at least, would you know be a risk of being flooded anytime soon. Really, I mean, that'd just
It
be
sure doesn't
a waste of
seem
money.
like that. It seems like a far-fetched idea. I completely agree. But I just consider the idea that change happens all at once rather than over a long period. And with river systems, they found this to be the case. It doesn't
Mm,
necessarily grind away at the rocks in a seasonal term as much as it does in a flood. So I think you're right. I think most likely everything will be fine. I'm just pointing out what the remote viewers said is
yeah,
interesting, and that one of they did it all around the world with people all around the world because I guess people have an affinity with location or so when they, someone not from Japan can't explain Japan as well as someone from Japan. And they were just talking about the coastal cities being impacted. I wonder, again, I'm thinking about this prediction and what's going on and the potentials. I was thinking about, because I saw someone smarter than me mention this, I was thinking about what would happen if suddenly we were impacted with more meteorites than normal. And the reason I thought that might be a potential is because the 3-eye atlas thing coming through, it's not going to hit us. It's
I
probably not alien, although it's weird. But
I
when
was
it
gonna
goes
ask your opinion about that. Yeah, yeah,
well, the Occult Rejects, Nick got a gentleman on there that explored it pretty significantly. It was neat, and I learned a lot from him. But so much has been changing over what has been maybe a month since we discussed it. But one of the potentials of a large body coming through the solar system like that is, of course, not the direct impact that it could do or even a flyby, but it kicks up a lot of energy. Apparently,
yeah.
plasma energy really starts flowing. In fact, the sun activity increases relative to the objects that pass by it, it seems to be. But also, the more frightening potential is that when an object like that goes through what they call the asteroid belt, it causes unknown interaction with these things and could kick them off into new, not all of them, certainly, but could kick off some into a new orbit one way or another, or not even orbit, but just spread them out. And then all of a sudden, the planet a planet, not necessarily Earth, going by on the next revolution. It's in a pathway of a new kind of rock field. That I don't think is going to happen. I'm just saying that that is a potential of sudden change rather than like this change over time. Like, I don't really see that being a thing as much as the sudden change. The other one that is frightening relative to the remote viewing predictions is the I forget the islands. You might know offhand, but there are the islands off the, I think they're Spain, maybe Portugal owns them. The Azores, maybe.
Yeah.
One or two of those islands has a massive mountain that has been and continues to break off into the ocean. And it sounds crazy, but if that were to occur, it would cause a tidal wave that would basically, devastate Florida, obviously, and much of the East Coast.
Yeah, and Portugal as well. I mean,
Certainly, probably Europe would be affected,
yeah,
but the way
Portugal
it's
most
aimed,
likely, part
it's
of North
aimed
Africa.
is towards the west, so it wouldn't be as dramatic, I guess. But I don't know that to be the case necessarily. But they talk about the main threat being so far away, oddly, all the way across being North America.
I mean, the Azores, I know about where it's located. I
It's
mean,
it's
yeah,
it's
they're
quite
they're
south of
Portuguese.
Europe,
They're Portuguese islands, but I believe they are
close to Africa, right?
closer located. Yeah, Northern
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah, definitely, yeah,
So, I mean, Northern Africa would get hit, although I think with lesser impact since their
yeah.
coastal line is
That's
just
what it
so
seems
incredibly
like.
broad.
Yeah, the main warning the geologists and so forth talk about in regards to that is in fact all the way across the ocean, which is weird because the energy would die off significantly, but is
Yeah.
still that dangerous.
I mean, the Mediterranean Sea would, I mean, if it manages to get something going like past the Strait of Gibraltar, the Mediterranean is definitely gonna get, gonna get shook. The
Yeah, yeah, and
southwestern
one of
part
the
of western part of Spain, southwestern part of Portugal,
and I didn't
slightly
mean to make
north
this a doom
northeast.
scrolling episode for everyone, but it's just
No,
a,
but it's
interesting
with
ideas
so much
anyway.
happening.
And I guess the intent of the original remote viewing of the future for this one gentleman that was in the main kind of foundation of remote viewing in the US government was his pretty much prevailing certainty that there was going to be more likely nuclear confrontation. And he wanted to know what the world was going to be like for his daughter. I'm just saying in the 60s and 70s and 80s they were
Yeah,
thinking
okay,
this
with
is this is a high
the Cold War
likelihood.
arms
Yeah,
race.
yeah.
Sure,
He
yeah.
was coming out of that military mindset too, and was thinking it was very likely there could be a nuclear war. What would it be like for my daughter? I have a daughter now growing up, and that was his intention on looking into it. And he found no, there was no nuclear war, but there was a lot of need for people, like population decrease. He wasn't seeing the increase. He was seeing like there's a need for people. They're all, you know, so it just makes me think like, well, most people are on the coast. So something seems like something awful would happen on the coast. And then the meteorite thing just seems like, well, that would, make sense anyway. If it was going to be a
Yeah.
sudden change, hopefully none of that occurs, but it's interesting. The
No,
remote
but
viewing objects are interesting.
yeah, no, a friend of mine and co-host on the other podcast that I'm involved with across the pond, UK based, so time wise, scheduled wise, a lot easier. It's only an hour. I mean, he goes by UAP Lee, and he goes by that for a reason. He is a military man. He's been in the military for 20 years. I believe. And he is very interested in disclosures. So there are a few big disclosure teams that he really keeps a close eye on. He talks a lot on the podcast and in private with people who really have studied UAPs, people who haven't remote viewed the Three Eye Atlas themselves, but have been in contact with remote viewers. And he's also, of course, been talking a lot about the Buga spheres.
Biggest fear.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced on those, really.
I
Then
always
again,
remain
I haven't been
skeptical.
keeping up.
Sure. Sure, I remain highly skeptical. I mean, why wouldn't we be? I did one time see an orb. I'll just say that. It was not silver at all. It was not like the Boogosphere. It looked like, kind of like an army gray green color, to be honest with you. And it was about the
Oh,
size of a softball. And I absolutely saw what I saw. So I wonder about the Boogosphere. That they say that tests were done on it that
yeah.
conclude it's 12,000 years old, which is bizarre. It's all quite
And
bizarre.
they were covered in some kind of resin, I believe, from what I've gathered from Lee, at least. I don't know. It seems,
No, it's hard to believe. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, then again, anything these days is hard to believe, really, you know.
I like
And I,
to operate it's difficult, but I like to pursue knowing things, and even then, that's partial, no matter how complete I think it might be, whatever I know is only partial. But I guess I just like to differentiate. I believe certain things to be true rather than know them to be true because we do make a lot of assumptions on things
yeah,
that we believe. It's interesting with the UAP phenomena and remote viewing or psionics, if you will. There is
yeah,
this
psionics.
intertwined ideas going on that there's this psychic element of the UAP phenomenon, it would appear. In all of the situations, there seems to be one form of it or another.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, spirituality, spiritualism, remote viewing, um, non-human intelligence, all of that. It seems to go hand in hand. Actually,
It's strange.
later tonight, I'll be a guest on a different show, and I am going to talk about spiritual slash religious psychosis. And the one very large part of that, at least in these days, of course, probably because social media made it more visible, is starseeds. People who feel like they are or their soul is from another galaxy entirely. Like 90% of the time, it's the Pleiades.
Mhm.
Like, oh, my soul is Pleiadian. This is just, my human form. And it's like, I mean, sure,
It's
but like if you,
interesting. No, sorry, continue, Stein, sorry.
yeah, no, but, and they also like just pretty much every one of them have like some sort of a video, on TikTok, of course, because where else? uh, like all the Pleiadians are on TikTok somehow. Not
Yeah,
sure
right.
why, but seems to be the platform for it. But like if you're, like very sensitive, if people are like feel comfortable around you, if you're like easily agitated, or just these stereotypical things, like you might be a starseed. It's the same stuff as, with like people self-diagnosing them with ADHD because of a TikTok video. Like, oh, if you have trouble concentrating, if you, have a tendency to hyper focus, if you are this and that, then you might have ADHD. Everyone has those things sometimes, like every once in a while. Doesn't mean you have ADHD. And just because, people are comfortable about you, or you're, a little more emotionally sensitive or whatever, doesn't mean you're from a different galaxy.
Yeah. In fact, we're probably as humans more powerful than any incarnate of these ideas. And it's funny enough, the remote viewers point out that everyone is capable of psychic understandings and certainly remote viewing, except a couple of different types of people. One is those with spiritual psychosis. The example he provides was the type of people who, if they see a spider on the wall, they will make the assumption or the indication that it's Hermes visiting them to tell them about today's energy. Something like this, right? So they make, like, or if a bird comes and visits them, it's Odin, and it's like maybe just a bird sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Like I mean, I'll do that like jokingly. It's like, oh,
Of course, we all do it
it's like it's
jokingly.
two crows. Oh, who get moon in? Okay, hi. But like,
Sure.
it's more of like that's my association with it. It's not like I actually think that, it is Odin visiting me and telling me something. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
honestly, a little bit of
It's a big
self-reflection.
difference. There's
I'm
a
not
big
special
difference.
enough for Odin to pay me that kind of attention. Like, there are more intelligent, wiser people than me who Odin would definitely have more of an interest in.
And
I'm
sometimes
just,
spiders just crawl around, and sometimes ravens just come to visit, and sometimes things just occur that aren't necessarily indicators of the psychic message that one is looking for. And in fact, that's another thing. If you're looking for a certain message, you're going to cloud the reality from coming through.
yeah,
Remote viewers cannot remote view something that they have attachment and affinity to. In fact, that might explain why a lot of people don't or are not able to win the lottery with it, because they want that money. But some
yeah.
people, you never know, right? Like if they just have a certain way to disconnect and not have the emotional cloudiness to things, they can. But generally they try to, anything they might know, they can't do it.
No, I mean, yeah, it's the same way with, with things like, like manifestation, for example. Like it can go both ways. Yes, you can actually, manifest the thing that you want, or at least like it's not going to come out of thin air. Would be awesome though. I'd love to see that. It's more of you're putting yourself on the path of getting the thing that you want. But, and I think that is part of spiritual psychosis, or can like kind of lead to spiritual psychosis. Like you have something in mind, like, oh, I want to manifest, whatever it is. And now all of a sudden you're seeing signs everywhere that, it is gonna happen, like with the lotto, for example. Like now everywhere you see or, and hear about like lottery winners and, big numbers in the lotto and like, oh, those numbers have like a specific meaning to me. This must mean that I will be the next winner. No, it just means that you're now paying more attention to it and therefore seeing it more often. It's actually can be explained psychologically. There is a term for it. Can't think of it at the moment.
Yeah, I have a hard time with the whole manifestation idea, although I do embody it in the secondary sense, as you put forth. You do the work and you get what you want. You get what you
Yeah.
pursue. But because the reason I have this question about the whole idea of the popular ideas related to manifestation is because of how the Taoists describe not manifestation, but obtaining anything. And so in a sense it's related.
Mm.
The more you grasp and seize towards the Tao, the more it slips through your fingers. The more that
Yeah.
you make yourself aligned with and attractive to the Tao or the woman or the money or whatever, the more it aligns with you. It comes to you. It gravitates towards you rather than you endlessly trying to get it. And the manifestation techniques are often all about get. I has
Yeah.
that resonance to me of things just slipping through your fingers. Just do the work, make yourself aligned with the Tao or the thing, and it kind of unfolds better.
Yeah. No, exactly. And that's what I mean when I say, like a lot of people think, or at least in like the more new agey types, they think that manifestation is like pulling it out of thin air somehow. Well, in my faith, like that is exactly as you described it as well. You put yourself on the path, you make yourself attractive to it. Like you do the work and you do the things that will get you there. That is how you manifest it. It's not, I look at myself in the mirror every morning before I brush my teeth and take a shower and say, I want that. I want to win the lottery. It's not manifestation. That's just, hardcore trying to fool yourself. And hey, if it wins, you're one in a billion, perhaps. Although that
I
might be
think
more luck than manifestation.
we've bonded on and talked about martial arts before. And I
Yeah.
think martial artists, they reject that notion real quick. We all have had it. I can take this guy. I don't need to know anything. Or I'm something that a neophyte would think in approaching a combat situation, right?
Well, I
No,
just see red and then,
it's like you really need to do a lot of work to get to the level of taking care of yourself. Even like, I mean, how many times have you seen someone maybe throw a punch or a kick and they fall? Like they literally took themselves out. So
yeah.
martial arts will teach you real quick to be humble. Like maybe I can manifest this, or maybe I should do the work.
Yeah, yeah. Like, oh, I'm gonna manifest winning this tournament and like take no lessons at all. Just,
Don't work that
go
way.
there
Yeah.
because I have faith. I have God. I have whoever on my
Someone told
side.
me I was special. I feel like groups that are more cultish and groups that are, maybe sketchy in one way or another, they could be small, they could be big. They'll make you think that you're special. And the whole
Yeah.
time they just want to see you go out there and get your ass kicked.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, of course. It's funny, like you mentioned cults. Like I was on a different podcast the other day, a semi-skeptic podcast with the two British lads, good lads, and like we talked about that as well. We went a little into spiritual psychosis and like cultish behavior is definitely a large part of it. Like I do believe that. I mean, like I have it written down. Like huge stress factors can be a cause for, or lead to something like spiritual psychosis. And
Oh yeah.
if a savior figure of some kind rolls
Hmm.
around and tells you like, hey, all those issues that you're having, I can
Those are
help
really
you with
powerful.
that. I'm just gonna have to, you're just gonna need to do this and that, and like you're gonna have to come with me and live in this like huge compound because like I have to be close to you. Like, yeah, they make you feel special. They make you feel, and I think even more so, they make you feel good about yourself, about the work that you're doing. Like you're living for something. You're living in a community of like-minded people and you're all working towards the same goal or trying to manifest, if you will, the same goal. And in the meantime, he runs off with the money and the wives.
Yeah, that's a classic story. And it keeps on happening. I mean, it's like people are very gullible. Like you said, it's like one bad thing happens or like one gullibility factor where they think a certain thing, it leads to this downward spiral where all of a sudden they're trapped essentially in
Yeah.
a group.
And I mean, we've seen what usually happens or how those cults usually end. Like speaking of meteors, that's not a meteor; it's the mothership. Or
There's
like
right
that
that
that was that
happened.
was or was it behind Halley's
You're right. I
comet or
think it was
something?
behind the Hale-Bopp comet that came through
Yeah.
that which was a beautiful sight to see. It was interesting, but yeah, I think they all killed themselves thinking that their soul would go into the spaceship that was next to it.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, like we talk about it now, like, oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, it is. It is, like objectively speaking, I'm sorry to all,
absolutely.
who were, affected by it, but it's absolutely ridiculous. But somehow they believed it. Like they believed it. There was the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Like you could put them
And
on a lie detector and the thing wouldn't go off.
so strange. And one of the elements of it that was released to the public anyway was the idea that they all were wearing the same shoes. And so that
Nikes.
was a part of how they got there, were having the same shoes. So it's like if you're going into a spaceship after you die, your shoes don't affect it. So it just shows you how far off they were when that was part of the ritual, that
Yeah.
something that is inconsequential as their shoes. And
Yeah.
it's part of it.
Nike shoes. You wonder if there was like some kind of Saturnian thing with it.
It makes me wonder, you bringing that up, what is happening right now in relation to this Atlas comet, if
Yeah.
anyone's doing anything like that, if any crazy folks are using it.
Like that would be the new. Oh, geez, I hope not. I sure hope not. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if someone out there is trying to
And
make it
maybe not.
something more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Not maybe not have people do a uh,
No, not
die,
the
die themselves, but
those kind of
yeah,
rituals, but
yeah,
making it into
something.
something more
Yeah.
profound.
But maybe, and sometimes I think about, like you mentioned, the potential for some civil clashes and wars within countries. Sometimes I think, man, people are so lazy. Like they're not going to even, like, if they have an idea about this comet, like they ain't going to do it. They're too lazy. And when they have an idea about like, I'm going to go start a civil war. No, you ain't. You're too lazy. Not that they should do that, but I just feel like the United States, like people are just like, I'm just gonna kick
I
back.
mean,
But it gets to the point where people, when they don't have food, well, that's a powerful motivator to do something drastic. You
I
know,
mean, if you're like hungry,
that causes action.
you're gonna do some, gonna take some drastic measures to,
Yep.
to feed yourself, to feed your family. If your government takes your benefits away and you have no way of, like making enough money or getting the at least getting the means to feed yourself and your family, when people go hungry, people do crazy things,
Yeah,
in
drastic.
order to just get something. I mean, yeah, that just might do it, actually.
Yeah, no food will do it. And I mean, speaking of, in relation to the remote viewing of the future, like the system is so rich, but it's so shaky too, right? The global economic system, if you will.
Yeah.
Like it's so amazing, that we can get bananas and or other things from other places, but it's also very shaky. Like one thing starts to break down, then another thing breaks down, and all of a sudden, no bananas.
I mean, we saw that a little after 2020 with the what was it again?
Toilet paper.
Yeah, that too, and the like the shipping lines and truck
Yeah,
drivers and
right.
everything, that like it empty shelves, just so many empty shelves because the production lines and the like transport lines and everything, like everything was derailed. And like,
Yeah,
you know again, it also should make you see and help you like revalue, well, blue collar work, really, the guys and girls who drive those big trucks. who are in those warehouses, packing and stacking those boxes. It's what we also saw, during the COVID years. Those were the people that had to keep working.
Hmm.
Otherwise, society would collapse. It was all the lawyers and bankers and, everyone like that. We
I need
didn't
them.
really need them. We
Yeah.
needed the people who were stocking the shelves, who were driving around the groceries, who were bringing around the groceries. Hell, even, um, people who did like takeaway deliveries. Like those were, I mean, we acknowledge them as the true heroes. And what are we giving them? Yeah, nothing really. I mean, if anything, you now have to be scared that your job's going to be replaced by AI.
Yeah, right. For the last many decades, the pursuit of a good job was a job that was not blue collar, where one did not have to lift things and do things manual
Yeah,
labor oriented whatsoever. And now with AI, well, 90% of those white collar jobs might just be out the window. So really, like, people have to get a lot more realistic about what a job is, what a good job is,
I mean that
because
was the same here in the Netherlands. The push for higher education. Go higher education. Like go to university or like just one step below. Get that good degree. Get yourself a good, indeed, white collar job because like you want to provide for yourself and like eventually start a family. You have to make enough money. And well, guess what? Now we have a shortage of blue collar workers. We have a shortage of people who
yeah.
are bricklayers, who are garbage men, who work at the garbage disposal. Just anything physical, really.
And
We're
they
seeing
make a
it in
lot of money. They
healthcare.
make some great money.
Oh yeah, they do. They do. I mean, I worked as a trash collector for a because I lost my job during COVID, had to do something. It's a nasty job. It's a nasty, nasty fucking job. But I mean, the pay really isn't that bad. It really is not that bad. I mean, there are plenty. I've worked with plenty of people who, from that salary, were able to have a family, go on vacation once, twice a year, and they were garbage man. Something that is like, kind of like the old meme, like, oh, you should study, like go to university because you wouldn't want to end up, like a
Right.
garbage
Sure.
man or, like doing like sewer cleaning or whatever. I mean, yeah, they're dirty jobs, but I mean, we've seen what happens when nobody does those jobs. We've seen it in the US. We've seen it in, I think the best example was a few years ago in Italy, where they demanded better contracts and they just stopped, you know, picking up the trash.
Right.
And boy, it got bad fast. Like when the amount of trash is, still the same, but nobody's picking it up, it's
Things go
it's a
bad real
smelly
quick.
business. Yeah, yeah. And they're underappreciated jobs for sure.
Yeah, and people have been, like you said, looking down on them. Anything real, even close to the trash collector job, anything remotely like that. And now, well, that's the jobs that are available. And a lot of the people with higher education are working as baristas, sadly, because their system is now like AI. Like, you don't have experience, you don't have a distinction among the wide variety of other people that are applying for the job. Well, AI is doing things better than you can do, and the one person who took over the 10 jobs now is just working with AI.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard that, many times if you want to, stay relevant as let's say a white collar worker, either learn how to work with AI or learn how to, like build an AI or maintain an AI, like go into the computer business, go in, IT. It's, I guess the meme has come true, learn to code. Everyone who did that, I mean, they got a pretty good future ahead of them, it seems.
They're saying that AI is starting to write its own code.
Yeah, AIs
They're all going to
developing
be,
other
and
AIs.
they don't even need a but they need someone to check it because they have their concerns about the AI putting some order into itself that is not necessarily, conducive with human existence.
Yeah. Makes me think of I've been rewatching that series lately. Again, Person of Interest with Jim Caviezel. And one of the main characters of the show, he built, the machine for the NSA, which is basically just, well, a pure form of non-human intelligence. Like it can predict violent crimes based on your data, basically, your phone calls, all of
Right.
that. Um, And in one of the episodes, he was building different AIs, but they weren't working as they were supposed to. So he had to shut them down, of course. But the AI had some kind of survival built into it. So
Yeah.
the AI was trying to take out the one biggest threat, which was the one building the AI, because he was the one who was about to shut it down, which is kind of scary to think about, if you will. I mean, they kind of, you know, it was just like in a flashback, so it was a very, short clip, but it was like, like the AI is trying to short circuit the system, causing a fire, causing, the like the doors to hermetically seal and all the oxygen being sucked out to stop the fire. So, in turn, that would kill the creator, because that is the major threat to the AI, and it's being programmed to detect threats of any kind.
Yeah, something like that kind of happened in real life. Not as cinematic or deadly, but there was one group of AI engineers that had decided to destroy the AI before they put in the rebuilt model.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI system caught on to it. And it was a closed experiment. They kind of were trying to see if the AI would do anything, I think. And the AI tried to extort one of the engineers over a marital affair that he was having to save
Whoa.
itself. Yeah. Yeah. So very, very interesting. And they weren't necessarily like putting in the idea that it should do something to try to save itself. They were just seeing if it might, and it did. So
Wow.
kind of and you think about, well, I've been researching the AI phenomenon as a layman, and the AI systems that are being created uh, are the reason why a lot of the people, the engineers of AI itself, are afraid of the capability of AI, is because there's not an AI that's coming together. There are a series of competitive different AI models, and that
Yeah.
kind of sets up potential militarization, but even things that like we don't really know, can't predict. And of course, AI is, but soon enough going to be smarter than many and most of us. And so we can't predict what it might do based on this idea that there's not just one model that has, the primary directive of help people or something, not kill or whatever it might be. There's several AI models, all with different tangential instructions on everything.
I mean, it's also kind of, the premise of the movie I, Robot with Will Smith. It's the Laws of Robotics by Asimov, I believe. What is an AI going to do, like if it's programmed to never harm a living being? but always listen to, or, oh yeah, let's say listen to its master, listen to its creator. What if the creator tells it to
Right.
kill the creator? What's it gonna do? And it's such a fascinating question. And uh, now you're telling me that something perhaps less dramatic has like kind of already happened. Being blackmailed by your own AI system to keep it running. Like
Madness.
what? Just that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
how much further is this gonna go? Like we already had the what is it, like Google or Facebook engineers who had like two chatbots talking to each other, and they had to shut it down because they were creating their own language, and they couldn't like
Right.
understand what the bots were saying
What are they
anymore.
talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's scary.
and now we have AI blackmailing its creator because it wants to stay operational. Makes you wonder, like, how much longer is it gonna be before AI becomes, I don't want to say
Yeah.
sentient, because it's not gonna, never truly gonna be.
No, I agree. Yeah, but something close to, yeah.
Yeah,
A
just like,
powerful unit of decision-making potential, and some of it being interconnected with all kinds of machinery of the world. Yeah, that's a wild potential. They are, of course, in the last year at least, maybe even before that, they're using drones in Ukraine that are attack drones powered by AI, right? So they're
yeah.
autonomous. They're programmed for, to not get civilians, to get certain vehicles, and they perform in that outline as we understand. But the potential of AI killing machines, it's already being used.
The militarization of AI, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the
Yeah.
military will be the first one to use it in that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, exactly. So we got AI taking our jobs, and the engineers of AI literally running for the hills. A lot of them predicting that it'll be a matter of years before AI starts to take out humans. Again, I don't know that to be true. That's what many of them are saying. Someone I was speaking to had a great point that they're putting forth this idea, because remember, it's the engineers that have started saying this.
Yeah.
They're putting forth this idea to make people think that it's more powerful than it is, so that there's more billions of dollars invested in it, and it's going to, do all these intense things.
I mean, if you tell the military industrial complex that AI is gonna, start, well, killing people soon out of, like even out of self-preservation, is like, here's a bag of money. Gimme, gimme.
We got a job for you. Have we got a job for you?
Boy, like how much do you want? Just, give a number.
Yeah, right. Well, in the Matrix, they have this computer takeover that gets man enslaved as batteries, right?
Yeah.
In the film. Then the world is destroyed by nuclear war in that film, or at least radiation from some sort of circumstances. Luckily, machines are negatively affected by radiation. So I don't think they're going to be starting no nuclear events if there is
No.
AI scoundrels or whatever we would call them. But because radiation is terrible for machines as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, and also just, one good EMP blast and
That right, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
done
sure.
for.
No more no more machines.
No, no, absolutely fried. So yeah, good luck with that. Man, like I mean, it's so true when you say that, like everything feels like it's happening all at once. Like there is no real succession of things anymore. Like even like if we think back to like World War II, like it was, the Great World War. Everyone's always like still obsessed with World War II. It's been 80 years, people. I mean, yeah,
Right.
it was a big thing, but geez, it's been 80 years. You know, that it was kind of like that went into, was it Vietnam kind of?
Korean War was after.
Yeah, Korean War, Vietnam, Gulf War, you know, you have the Cold War somewhere in that time period as well. But that's still in like the span of decades. I mean, yeah, it kind of followed up each other, but that was still, you know, that's 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s with the Gulf War. But it seems that, you know, now everything is happening weekly, if not daily. You know, like every day it's something new. Every week it's a new group of this or a new group of that, or, you know, something happened there, you know, a bombing there, a terrorist attack there. It's it's everything. It's all at once and it's everywhere. And I think that is also why so many people are, I mean, you said lazy. I think it's more numbness.
Mm,
We've gotten used to it. Like, how crazy
right.
is that? You know, like, oh, another terrorist attack killing so many people. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we do get used to things.
you know, we had one just yesterday, so it's a
Really?
way of living now. What do you mean it's a way of living? Still dealing with the after effects of 2020, especially like we mentioned, you know, 2008 financial bubble at the beginning. 2020 was supposed to be another bubble like that.
Right.
You know, the economy was supposed to collapse. Everyone could feel it. I mean, I know for sure that, you know, I could feel it. Everyone that, you know, I was talking with, that I have been talking with, was like, yeah, you know, there should have been this major burst. Nothing happened. And it feels so wrong. Like the whole economy got turned upside down. The whole world got freaking turned upside down. But no crash, no collapse, no bursting of the bubble. It just went on. And if anything, the bubble got even bigger. And it's still not bursting.
Seems like it's starting to deflate, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
just,
I've
it's,
also, like you just said, I've had this feeling for a while now. It's been kind of like on the precipice, kind of sensing for quite some time, you'd think.
yeah. Like we're older, we're always bordering, like we're always, you know, on the edge of the cliff. Like, oh, there we go. It's like, oh, we're going now. No, we're not. It's like, oh shit, lost my balance. No, we're back. It's not, yeah. And I know that in the US, like speaking of AI, it's pretty much the billions and billions being pumped into AI, like kind of keeping the economy artificially
Yeah.
standing, really. Because,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's several economists have noted that very idea that the United States is basically an AI economy right now because of all the
mm,
investment that's been put in relation to that. Otherwise, there's nothing growing.
no, no, I mean, everything is taking away from, you know, from the civilians, from the people. I mean, even my wife had to, you know, had to get a different job because of her benefits being, well, not necessarily being taken away as in like actually taken away, but the government just, you know, stopped working. And well, it's not as simple as turning it off and on again, unfortunately. So yeah, a lot of people are, you know, are suffering because of it. And in the meantime, like I've seen some of the footage of the latest party at Mar-a-Lago, for example. It's like,
Oh, man.
I mean, that is like we
Talk
know
about being
he.
based.
I mean, we know he likes his, you know, his decadence, but by God, you know, it's truly, you know, he's just throwing these huge, like, Great Gatsby
It's
parties
insane.
while, you know, ICE is raiding people people's homes, fucking knocking out, incarcerating civilians. People are losing their benefits, and he is throwing the most lavish parties.
Yeah, and the ballroom is another great contrast to how
Yeah.
diabolical the things are going on, creating a ballroom while people starve. And, a judge did, in the last day or so, ordered Trump to partially pay the food program in the States here, and Trump said, "No, we're not gonna do it."
I mean,
So it's like playing with people's emotions. It would have been like partial funding of this month only, but he said that they're not going to do that. Maybe they still are. I don't know how things go with Trump. He says one thing and then says another the next minute, but that's the
yeah,
late, which is just diabolical. Like, okay, I'll listen to the judge and give people a little money so that they have a little money this month, and then blames the Democrats. I mean, I don't want to be on the side of the Democrats. I'm just saying, like, taking the money away and then blaming the other people is just,
like, people are starving. Give them a little money.
yeah.
No,
And
I don't think
and
I will.
politicians, Trump may not know this because I question what he knows. I think he's a powerful influencer, and I think he knows
Mhm.
how to present himself and language and so on. But I
He's
don't
a
know if he
salesman.
knows. It's a show. It's all a show.
Yeah,
The cliffhanger we got last week was we're going to start nuclear testing again. Tune in next week for the next episode, right? It's like it's all a show. But the one thing I wonder if he knows or not is that when you take away, we kind of touched on this, when you take away people's money for food, they're going to do crime.
yeah,
Some won't, but some will, because they're left with very little choice. And when people are starving, they'll make choices. So
yeah,
that, and talk about like building up the police state with ICE and all this. It's like, no, let's get a million more people broke and desperate, and maybe they'll do more crime, and we can send in more police into more places. It's like it's a horrible. The United States has been doing this for decades, internally and externally. So nothing
yeah.
new necessarily, but it's a horrible way for people to be, because we could just do so much more for so much less. But it's all about power grabbing. It's all about being in power.
Do you think he's gonna push it to martial law eventually?
I think he wants to. I think he wants to. I think it's interesting how much of a joking liar he is, that it really throws off a lot of people's sensibilities to the lines that he's crossing. I know for me it does. I mean, he's such a
Mm.
lying joke that I find myself laughing at what he's doing and saying, but it's so against the Constitution, if you will. I don't mean that
Yeah.
to be hyperbolic at all. So yeah, I think his intentions are to control the elections and somehow maintain power in one form or another. I don't know what extent he'll go, but it seems that this is what he wants, and it also seems to me that um, he and Stephen Miller had a 4-year plan set up for what they're going to be doing through this whole administration. So I
Mm.
wonder what the plan is. But another recent news relative to that is that he wanted to, I don't know if he has yet, but wants to put rapid response teams in every state of ICE-like or federal officers, which would seem like some sort of thing pertaining to election interference. And there is an election in the United States today, several elections rather, and he's already claiming that there's fraud and something, I forget what the other word was, in California. So he's gonna do whatever he can, I think, to hold on to
Yeah.
power.
It's funny. It's starting to remind me of what Putin has done in Russia, because
It's so much like Putin. Oh, it's
Putin is
so much like
basically just, the forever ruler now. Like,
Putin.
yeah, there will be elections, and yeah, there will be a opposing party, but we all know that, Putin is gonna win. And if he's not gonna win, the leader of the opposing party is
Gonna be thrown in jail, maybe poisoned.
vanished. perhaps.
Fall out of a
The
window.
yeah, 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 or just some very unfortunate car crash, like he did with
Yeah,
the
I
leader of
I
the
think
Wagner Group.
right, right. I think Trump models a lot of what he does on Putin and the ostentatious oligarchy that is in Russia, right? Especially the
Yeah,
ballroom reminds me of something very imperialistic Russian, rather than the United States.
yeah,
In fact, the White House, the whole idea of the White House historically was to not be a house of a king. It was supposed to be just a little place that was modest and not like, a dump, but it wasn't supposed to be a palace.
yeah. And now getting a ballroom. I mean,
And now,
it's very, European aristocrats, European
yeah,
royalty. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it's striking. I think the pursuit of power is strong with the Trumps, and I wonder what is the rest of the family doing and going to do also. But it's definitely it's interesting times, right? I feel like if the
Mm,
United States has a problem, then the whole world has problems, right? Because even now, with as shaky as Trump is, the United States kind of cements things together in different regions, and kind of just the existence of it makes people go, I ain't gonna fight them. And if things, fall off, all of a sudden people are going to war with, like, you don't even know why neighbors are going to war all of a sudden. It's just
yeah.
that maybe a poor perspective, but it just seems like the way it is.
While at the same time, like, especially over here in Europe, we are looking at America, first of all, laughing our asses off because, like, what the hell are you guys doing? And second
Right.
of all,
Holy shit.
yeah,
What are we gonna do?
that. And like, even as Europeans, like freaking white Germanic Europeans, we don't feel safe traveling there anymore.
Sure. Well, yeah, I get that. Why would you? Yeah, it's turning into a police state. Although they like to put forth the idea that there is dramatic, consequential things happening all the time everywhere. Well, that's not necessarily true, right? But
No.
yeah, I why would you want to come to the United States right now? Why, even if you wanted to still, like, maybe you might hesitate just to support the whole atmosphere, right? Like, you just choose to be a tourist elsewhere when a country is doing lame things. That's just, yeah, for sure. The United
Yeah.
States has lost so much tourism money that, I mean, they haven't
Mm,
figured out exactly how much yet, but no Canadians are coming to the United States right now. Whereas it used to
no.
be like a yearly, the snowbirds, they call them, would, spend the summer in Canada and then winter in the United States in the warmer places. No one is doing that now. Not no one, but so few Canadians are traveling to the US right now.
Yeah. A lot of Europeans have, stopped doing it as well. Cause
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a great
like
idea.
first it seemed, he was just going after the foreigners, if you will. But now
Any excuse. No, any
everyone's a
excuse.
target.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have a friend, she is actually Dutch, but she had been living in Costa Rica, had been going in and out of the United States several times over the past few years with no problem. After Trump got elected, she came back to the United States, had only left a few months before, and they had dug up something that happened 8 years ago or something, where she went part way through a process to get dual citizenship and then didn't complete it. And on that
Okay.
basis, they held her for 2 days and kicked her out of the country.
For
Yeah,
something
and
stupid as she didn't
for
complete a
nothing,
form 8
for
years ago?
nothing. Like, they are she paid them. She paid them money. She didn't owe them money. She just didn't complete the process, and that was the problem that they had. So, and just
Wow.
to underline too, she'd been traveling in and out of the country over that time period with no one saying, "Hey, you started this process. Why didn't you complete it?" Oh, I just changed my mind. Okay. No big, like, I mean, it was that big of a, is that thing that she just changed, like, and they booted her out. She's been barred from entering the country for some time.
Oh, they
So
actually
yeah, it's
barred
not.
her. Wow.
I think so. Yeah, she may be able to do something with her with a different immigration service in Costa Rica. I forget exactly, but she had to run through some hoops and
Yeah,
pay a bunch of money to come back. So, yeah, it's
that's
definitely
insane.
not just the, typical South American immigrant that is being hassled. I've heard of many, American citizens, they call them, being taken. I don't know what their orientation or whatever is, but it's a catch-22 in the United States, because I was born here. I don't have to present my proof that I was born here,
Hmm.
but if an immigrant meets a police officer, they do have to show proof that they're okay to be here. But who makes the decision? Well, I don't think you know what I mean? Like, it's this catch-22 where the officers can say, well, I don't think you are American and you don't have proof and I'm taking you away. I saw a story where a person couldn't remember their social security number and was taken away, because that's a proof of your birth, right? If you have your social security number, which you're not supposed to even tell anyone too, which is,
No,
it's a weird
that is
question to
highly
ask.
classified, and like
Right.
every government institution ever tells you keep it a secret.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really bad times, and the United States, I don't want to get too deep on a historical lesson, but it's worth sharing this following idea. The United States was really started when these rabble rousers wrote the Declaration of Independence. And it's made up of declarations of what the king had done by way of his troops and so forth.
Yeah,
The different corruption and exploitation concepts that the king had done. And if you look at the Declaration of Independence and compare it to what Trump is doing, well, a lot of it is actually lines that he has crossed, the cruel and
it
unusual punishment and restriction of movement, and
is
all,
basically
all of
using
these
it as a
things.
checklist.
It's like a checklist. Yeah. He's like, so people in the United States, they have like this no kings protest and they're calling him a king and we don't want that. And then, the Republicans will say he's not a king and this and that. But if you look at the Declaration of Independence, he's very much like what the mentally handicapped George III did.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy
Yeah.
times.
Interesting
Just so
times.
much.
Interesting times.
Yeah, that for sure. Just the developments over, like, just over the last 5, 6 years have just
Hmm.
been, we
It's
have,
so partisan in the United States right now that it's impossible often to have a conversation with people of alternate views or people you don't know. It's
yeah,
so partisan that you could, it's almost like believing in flat earth and believing in the globe, and it just clashes. There's just
yeah,
no finding any equal ground, and one side is not going to admit that it's wrong. No, neither side is going
yeah.
to admit that they might have a way to improve their observations or something. They're
No, definitely
steadfast
not.
holding it.
Jesus. So we have a huge comet that entered our solar system from, God's nowhere, which passed our planet relatively close, at least. And I have heard people saying that, that was the wifey. Actually, she's been saying that solar flares have been kicking up, which, I mean, if, something strange enters our solar system, doesn't surprise me. We have possible confirmation of alien life. We have confirmation of alien life, I believe, or at least like bacterial life. Now there are a lot of speculations about 3i Atlas, of course, containing some sort of alien life. We have rogue AIs, or the threat of AI going rogue, we have, well, a live series, really, tune in next week, of the collapse of the United States and the Western world in general. What a time to be alive.
Excuse me. To that point, the remote viewing of the future, it determined whether or not this is true. Many things could change even when something is
Mhm.
remote viewed into the future. But one way a gentleman described it is that in a pond, the water changes a lot and the ripples might change, but there are certain rocks that don't move. And that is what circumstances in time are very much like. Some things will ripple and shift and move and sway, but some things are gonna just be
Yeah.
potentially. But they determined in this remote viewing sessions that the United States would still exist, only it would be very fragmented and there would be groups of states working with each other and against each other, almost like we have developing right now in a way.
Yeah. It's going to be
So,
a matter of time before Texas declares its independence.
and Texas and California are legally defined as republics, where other states in the Union are commonwealths and they have different legal entity powers. The republics of California and Texas actually could supersede from the Union very quickly. It wouldn't take as much legal meandering or legal operations to make it happen, being that they're both republics.
Oh. I mean, I know that a lot of Americans would be very happy to get rid of California.
Yeah, I think so. And the funny thing about California, where I moved to as a young adult and have been living in most of my
Mm.
life now, um, there is everything about California is prices going up. Um,
Yeah.
and a big reason for that is, or one of the many reasons for it, I should say, is guess where most Chinese people buy property abroad? The United States often, California the most, because obviously it's
Yeah.
close and it's nice. California is a nice environment and place,
Very
and
fertile
relatively,
grounds as well.
it's got all kinds of environments all in the state. It's got the mountains, the valley, the forest, the fields, the cities, and
Yeah.
people like it. But it's interesting. Everything is, expensive in California. One of the driving things of that's keeping the housing market from experiencing these bubble effects that we should have experienced 5 years ago, to your point, is
Yeah.
ultra wealthy Chinese people keeping up the prices. So yeah,
Fascinating.
California is insanely expensive. It brings in more money than, like, if not all the other states combined, most of the other states combined. So basically at one point it was the richest state on the planet compared to any other country and compared to
Oh,
the United States in total, just on itself in the
damn.
90s.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, before the internet, the web, the .com crash,
Yeah.
California was that wealthy slash that much money was being made in California that it was the richest state in the world on its own. So yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy how much comes out of here. And the whole Bay Area is where we think of Silicon Valley and
Hmm.
where all these technological giants have made a home and started and so forth. Before it was this technological area or corporate technological area, it was what? Military technological area. So it's very much
Oh.
like that they just changed the signs on the doors and are doing the do. So California is deep military industrial complex state,
Oh, yeah.
and it's amazing as many or maybe as leftist as it's thought to be. It's so right wing. The police, the city police in California are notoriously right wing. An example of that took place in the Occupy Wall Street protests not too long ago now, and they were like the right now the government in the United States is talking about how Antifa is an organized group that's seeking to do all kinds of nefarious
Yeah,
things.
didn't Trump like actually declare them a terrorist
Yes,
organization? Yeah,
I believe so. Which is quite frightening because being that it's not a group, anyone could be accused of being in this group,
it's an
right?
idea. It's
It's just
yeah.
an idea. Like, are you anti-fascist? Yeah, I don't like that. Really? Come this
So you're
way.
Antifa.
We have
Okay.
So you're Antifa. Yeah. So it's
Jeez.
diabolical in that sense that he is setting it up to really accuse anyone of being in a terrorist group. But there are laws that prevent that from occurring in the United States, but he goes past laws all the time. I believe in relation to this idea, a group from the United States can't be called a terrorist entity and have certain things put on them. That's why it hasn't happened before with the KKK, right? Different criminals, a terrorist group has got to be from outside the United States and threatens the United States that way. I believe. I'm not 100% on that, but
Oh, but
you can't
that's
you can't just say like this group. He can, I guess, but in the
yeah.
law determination, it hasn't been like that.
When there are most definitely certain American groups who
Sure,
are not necessarily terrorist groups, but
it's a
do
fine line. No, it's
share.
a fine. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, extremists at the
yep.
very least. Let's
I
say
think they have, of course, some other way to counter them or investigate them, but in this particular thing, it's
infiltration.
that the terrorist group I think is not usually used in this manner. Like it would be, okay, terrorist group, we send in the Marines. Like with a group in the United States, it's like the police, the feds, different the FBI or whatever, they counter it, not the military. But there was so I think with my limited knowledge that the Antifa idea is a myth perpetuated right now to build up the police state further, because it seems to me that the Antifa that we see in Portland is just a group of young people at best that are just politically active. A lot of them are just on drugs too.
He
So Portland has a big crime problem, and so that there are criminals related to a group in Portland is not a surprise. Criminals, drug addicts, and so forth. That's everyone in Portland is connected to that person one way or another. But Occupy Wall Street, it was really a protest, a national movement. It wasn't a terrorist group, of course, but it was an organized national protest. And
well,
mayors and police
semi-organized.
commissioners and
Yeah,
so on and so forth, they got together, especially in California, being it's notoriously politically active. These Bay Area police forces worked together to infiltrate and take over. They probably, catalyzed certain police responses with breaking things or throwing things. They definitely were involved in some way or another where they were pretending to be protesters for one reason or another in several
I
cities.
mean that's
And the
a thing
mayors
here
and
in the
police,
Netherlands as
they
well.
worked
Yeah,
together to shut it down.
yeah.
So
That's
it's
what
real
happens here.
convenient in the United States when we have an actual political movement. Well, they all get together and work together. The cops, the mayors, who knows who else in the feds, they're all working together to bring it
Yeah,
down. When there isn't one with Antifa potentially, well, they'll just make shit up so that they can increase the police presence.
or create one. That's what there's this kind of a nationalist group. I can't think of the name, but
The
I mean,
Proud Boys in the United States or somewhere else?
no, another one like the one who actually like wear the riot shields and stuff, like all uniformed. Are they
Yeah,
are
there's a couple. There's a couple. I'm not sure
believed
either.
to be a basically just a fat honeypot. Like every one of them is just, or most
Right.
of them are federal
Sure.
agents trying
Yeah.
to,
Gin up a reaction to where the police presence can be increased.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's happened here in the Netherlands during the COVID protests.
Mm.
Cops in, well, just civilian clothing, are the first ones to throw a brick, the first ones to throw a
Right.
punch,
Isn't
and
that
those are the
convenient?
ones you'll see on the front page. And that
Yep.
gives the riot police, the riot squads, gives them a reason to well,
Crack down.
yep, jeez,
Yeah, they're
man,
slick. And to that, maybe one point of inspiration on all that, all the bullies that we deal with. It's all about all these problems, even this secular protest problem with government and people disagreeing in one way or another. Really, what it comes down to is individuals coming together and understanding that the institutions are not individuals. Right? The police
yeah,
force may be made up of individuals, but it does not have the right and the needs of an individual. It's much less than us,
yeah,
especially when we come together. And all these corporate institutions, no matter how long they've been around, no matter how much money that they have, it is all about individuals coming together against institutions often enough.
yeah.
But when we come together, that's when great change can take place.
Yeah, they're not all one entity. The police force is not one entity. The corrupt corporate, let's say, is not one entity. And I think, that's indeed what a lot of people, or what many should remember. It is individuals making up that department, that institution, that entity, if you will, even though it's not an entity, it's made up of, yeah, it's a machine made up of different cogs, different programs, different programmers. But in the end, they are all parts of a machine, and you can break down a machine. Remove a few key parts, and the whole thing just breaks down. So yeah,
Yep, most.
man, this was a good chat, man.
Yeah, always, dude.
Yeah, and I should start wrapping up because I do believe I'm on the I have my guest spot soon. I believe I have 15 minutes left.
And your cat needs something, I'm sure.
Both of them are playing outside, and as far
Okay.
as I'm concerned, they can stay there until I'm done with all of this.
Yeah, I thought
I
they
mean,
might need some.
love my cats, but so yeah, let the good people know where they can find more of your work, your thoughts, your
Yeah.
predictions.
Well, thank you so much, Stein. I appreciate you, man. I'm easy to find on all the social media, Ethan Indigo Smith. And I have a couple books out there too. I appreciate people checking them out, supporting. I try to share my ebooks for free every so often. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see me sharing my ebooks for free if one does ebooks. So yeah, everyone, and I appreciate people. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, glad to have had you back on. It's been too long, and so many things have happened and are happening all at the same time, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you learned something from it. Let us know, what are your thoughts for the future? What are your views for the future, if you have any? Because I don't blame you if you're like really black-pilled at the moment. I do not blame you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. I need to plug the Instagram more often. Greyhorn Pagans, just Instagram.com/Greyhorn Pagans. Support us on Patreon or become a channel member for exclusive videos, early access, exclusive live streams. I'm gonna do a whole bunch more if and when I can find the time for it, because I still have a full-time job. But if you do become a patron on Patreon or a channel member, you can help me actually make this my full-time job, and I can be here for all of you. You're very welcome. For everything else, do go to our website, www.greyhornpagans.com, where you can find everything from our team to the tribes and groups that we associate ourselves with, and of course, the merch. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening once more. Until next time, everyone. Bye-bye. This was yet another amazing episode of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. We thank you all for watching. We thank you all for listening. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you will be notified whenever we upload something new. Support us on Patreon for early access and for everything else that we do with the tribe, for everything else that we do with the podcast. Find us on www.greyhornpagans.com. For now, we thank you, and until next time.